folks, and welcome to another video. Thank you for joining us today. And today I am very, very excited. And no, that's not because I'm wearing a monkey suit. And if you're wondering about that, I'm actually an attorney and I had some boring hearing in Fort Lauderdale. But I am excited because I got my Chevy SS back. And if you watched my previous video, you know that this car was at the dealership for about a week and a half. They recorded, they powder coated my wheels because the clear coat was coming off. So they gave me a loaner, and I was without my Chevy SS. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to do a quick ownership update. I have had this car for almost 2 years, about a year, 7 months, somewhere on that range. And I wanted to do an objective review. I mean, there's a lot of videos out there. People are saying, well, 5 things I hate, 5 things I don't like. I'm gonna talk about the things that annoy me, but I'm gonna try to be as objective as possible, especially if someone is considering purchasing this vehicle. Now, another thing is that I put the camera down there because I want you guys. It's a manual, so I want you guys to see the shift action. You wouldn't believe how many videos I watch. People are driving a manual and they stick a camera right here in your face. Like, I want to see the shifting action. Like, I don't want to see your face. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's why the camera is down there. So I have to, full disclosure first, okay? I am not a Chevy guy. I am a die-hard Ford guy. But above all, I am a car guy. So if a car company makes a car that's worth buying, I don't care what the logo says up front. That's just my take on it, because I'm a car guy. And let me tell you something. This is a car worth buying. And let me tell you why. This is something that we will never see again, ever. We will never see a car like this again. We will never see a naturally aspirated V8 with this much power, 415 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. We will not see a manual transmission in a sedan, a performance sedan at least. I don't anticipate that happening. So this is the last of its kind. And let me tell you something. I absolutely love this car. I am in love with this car, and I would not give this for anything. You can give me a $100,000 E55 or a new M5. I will not trade that. I love this car. There's nothing that connects you with the car more than this vehicle. It is so raw. It is so analog that there's no other car out there. You drive some of these modern cars and they're so disconnected. There's so many electronics and gimmicks and doodads. This car is not like that. This vehicle is the ultimate driver's car. It's not without its faults. There's no perfect car out there. It just doesn't exist. But if you want a pure driving experience, if you want to be in control of what you're doing, and let me tell you something, this car, again, doesn't have all these electronics. The traction control is there, but it's very unintrusive. So if you don't know what you're doing, there is nobody here to help you out. It's not like one of those modern, like M5s or E55s or any of those other German cars that help you if you're a crappy driver. This will punish you. This is like a Dodge Viper. It will get away from under you if you don't know what you're doing. So with that being said, I just want to, like I said, I want to give the bridge is up, so we're gonna be here for a while. I just want to give you an objective kind of review of my ownership experience with this car. Now, I bought this, like I said, about a year, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and I had a clunker that I was driving every day, so I didn't drive this car every day, and I did not notice a lot of things that annoy me with this vehicle until I started driving it every day for the last couple of months. And here, this is the thing with me. I always buy a car that I like, and I baby it. I store it. I put it on the car cover. I wipe it with the baby diapers, and I'm afraid to put miles in it. I'm afraid to get it out and park it, and I'm afraid to get door dings and whatnot. And then what happens is that 2 years later, I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't drive the car anymore. I might as well sell it. And what happens is the next guy gets to enjoy the car. So I figured with this one, while it's still new, I'm gonna drive it. I'm gonna enjoy it, and let the other guy fix it after me. So that's just my take on it. So you live once, might as well enjoy it. So like I said, I wasn't driving this car every day for the most of the year and a half that I owned it, and I would drive it once a month, and maybe once every couple of weeks, and you wouldn't pay attention to these things because I would take it for a short drive, like half an hour, whatnot. But now that I drive it daily, it has some things that are annoying. Again, no car is perfect, but these are very minor. I still love the car, and I would not, like I said, I would not change it for anything. Now, just to give you like a quick idea what this car is, because a lot of people don't know, this is a Holden Commodore, VF Commodore. It's an Australian car that's built on a 5th gen Camaro platform, the Zeta platform. So it shares the architecture with that car. It was imported by Chevy because GM owns Holden. It was imported by Chevy in 2014, and they made it for 4 model years, 2014 through 2017. This is a 2017, it's the last model year. Now, in 2014, they were only available with an automatic. In 2015, a manual, 6-speed manual, became a no-charge option. And, this country, nobody drives manual, so these are very hard to find. They're very low numbers. And the whole reason I bought this car is this right here. If it didn't have a manual transmission, I would not consider this really, because there are other performance cars out there that are faster, that are, some people consider better looking and more aggressive, etc., etc. So this is why I bought this car. Now let's talk about this transmission, okay? This is a Tremec TR6060. Now, this transmission is available, still being made, and it's in a lot of performance cars. The Dodge Viper, the C6 Corvette, the C7 has the TR6070, which is 7-speed. The GT500, the Challenger. I mean, a lot of performance cars, the ZL1 Camaro, a lot of performance cars have this transmission. It's a great transmission. But if you are coming from a car, let's say an E39 M5, this is not the smoothest transmission in the world. And I don't know if you can hear it. It's very notchy, okay? It almost feels like driving a tractor trailer. So it's not the smoothest transmission out there. And this is an issue with the Tremec. It's not an issue with the Chevy SS. So this is something that a lot of owners experience, okay? When I first got this car, it still had the original transmission fluid, the GM fluid or whatever, which was not synthetic. And what would happen is that when it was cold, and we live in South Florida, so it doesn't really get cold, but the cold for us is like 65 degrees, like, oh, it's cold, sweater time. When it was cold, like 60, 65 degrees in the morning, it refused to go into first or second gear. It wouldn't go into gear. So the solution was, I did some research on the internet, and people said, change the fluid. So I tried a bunch of different fluids, and I settled on Mobil 1 automatic transmission fluid, and that solved the problem. Like, the cold shifts are perfect now. Still notchy, but it shifts into every gear, just fine when it's cold. And that's the thing with this transmission. There's the notchiness comes from I read somewhere that there are, I think, synchro rings that they're coated in carbon fiber for longevity, and because it's a heavy duty transmission, so it creates that notchiness. They sell like an aftermarket kit that you replace those rings with like aluminum ones, and it becomes a lot smoother. But this is just the character of the car. You either live with it or you don't. So that's something that for you to consider if you're looking for a manual transmission car. And another thing is, if you're looking for a manual transmission car, is for me, I love the manual transmission. I've been driving manuals for years, so I wouldn't trade this for the world. But if you live in a metropolitan area like I do, and if you're stuck in traffic, every day to and from work, this gets old. Like, after a while, it gets annoying. So that's something to consider. But again, for me, it's worth it because there's no manual cars out there. Another thing about this is the clutch operation, which is very, very weird. It's not a linear clutch, so there's this kink to the pedal, and a lot of GM cars have that. And it is so strange. Like I said, I've been driving manual cars for many years, and when I first bought this car, like, I stalled it like 20 times. I couldn't get used to this clutch, and I'm still not used to this clutch. It's very, very strange operation. There's a spring, like an assist spring in there, that pushes the pedal back, and you can't really get the feel for it. You don't know where the grab point is because it just keeps pushing back. So very strange. But some people remove the spring, but I don't want to mess with that. The car's under full warranty, so I don't want to screw with that. So that's another thing that's consider that if you're looking at the manual transmission. And my opinion, honestly, is that that if you're gonna buy one of these cars, the manual is the only way to do it. Like, why would you buy an automatic? You know, you can buy other automatics. You know, the other performance cars out there. So that's my view on it. The other thing that I absolutely hate about this car is the infotainment, the navigation system. It is rubbish. The smiling, you know, crap. It doesn't do. It's slow. It's sluggish. And this is the latest version. This is the 2017, so it's the latest software and everything. And I used the navigation in this car a total of 3 times, and every single time, this navigation system took me nowhere even close to where I was going. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't care. I don't want to figure this out. I just gave up on it. Thank God for Google, you know, and Google Maps. Just use that. It takes 2 seconds. Boom, and you're there. So that's the issue with this. You know, it's dated, and there's no Android Auto. There's no Apple CarPlay. I mean, it's 2017, folks. So, and I get it. You know, GM was shutting down Holden, so they're like, why are we going to invest money in this? So they just, you know, left it the way it was. And the other issue is that the screen is, it's not glass. It's like one of those soft touch LCD screens. So what happens is that if you connect your phone via Bluetooth, you know, the silence, the ring on the phone is silenced. So all the messages come through the navigation screen, and it's because this thing is, you know, incapable of doing the most basic things. It cannot read the text message. It just gives you a message on the screen. Says you have a text message. You want to dismiss. You want to read it, and when you hit read, it's like, oh, I can't read it. So and then it pops this message, look like an error code, and it's very annoying because it's just, you know, the screen is far away, so you gotta reach, and you're driving, and it's so I use my phone. I don't use this at all. But you know, what are you gonna do? Honestly, in my opinion, what I think, come on, you can do it. What I think is that this car, I would have much preferred if this car came with nothing. There was nothing here. But Chevy didn't do that. Chevy decided to load these up to the gills, so it has everything standard. As a matter of fact, there was only 2 options. Well, technically 3. The colors, some of the colors were optional, but there were only 2 options available on the Chevy SSs. One is a moonroof, and the other one is a spare tire. And I was looking. I hate moonroofs because it's a hole in the roof that's always going to leak and make noise, and there's like extra stuff to break. So I was looking for a car without a moonroof, and it was very difficult to find because 99% of these came with a moonroof. And I'll just give you the numbers real quickly. This is a silver ice metallic. It's a silver car, one of my favorite colors. And in 2017, I think it's the second rarest color. They made 262 silver ice metallics Chevy SSs. Out of those 262, 74 cars had a manual transmission. Now, out of those 74 cars, only 6 had no sunroof. I mean, go find one of those. And I was luckily I was able to find one of these because, like I said, I hate moonroofs. So, and it had the manual and it had no spare. So it doesn't have. It's just one of 6 that doesn't have the 2 options. So I got lucky there. But yeah, so we talked about the transmission, the clutch, the infotainment system. The other thing, and a lot of people talked about this in their videos. I mean, it's this car is thirsty. It is not the most economical car. I mean, obviously you don't buy this for the gas mileage, but I mean, I can literally watch the gas gauge move. You know, I have to fill it up. My commute is not that bad. I like commute 15 miles to work, and you know, I have to fill up twice a week. It's just, you know, it's crazy. It's really, really thirsty car. But again, thank God that General Motors did not put this stupid cylinder deactivation that they do in other cars. So this car doesn't have that. And you know, that's extra wear and tear on the engine, and I guess that's why one of the reasons why it's so thirsty. So the other thing is that you know, it reminds me, talking about the clutch pedals. The pedals in this car are, the gas and the brake are too far apart. So heel and toe is almost, at least for me, almost impossible to do. A lot of people install the pedal extensions, but I really don't want to do that. So the only way I can do heel to toe is if I move the seat further back so I can, fit my foot kind of sideways. But then the problem is I can't reach the clutch. So, and I'm already sitting pretty close. So that's another issue to consider if you're planning to track it or whatnot. The other kind of annoyance I have is this it's doesn't really do anything. There's a lot of movement, you know. Now, the seats, if you wanna see the most comfortable seats, go sit inside of a S550 Mustang GT. I mean, those seats, and I have one of those, and that video's coming up. I'm gonna do a ownership update on that as well. But you know, I've sat in a lot of cars, but the Mustang seats by far, my God, they just fit perfect, and they hug you, and it's a great seat. This, you know, not so much. Another thing with this is the bolstering here on the lower part of the seat. On the left side, it digs into my thigh, and it's not really like a Chevy SS specific thing. A lot of cars that have bolsters. For some reason, I guess my left leg is larger than my right leg. I don't know. So I have to kind of, when I get in there, I have to shift myself to the right so it doesn't dig in. It gets uncomfortable after a while. Again, minor thing. I would, you know, I'll live with this. So the other thing that with this particular car, what happened is when I first got it, what went out on it is the seals for the brake fluid reservoir, which in this car is shared with the clutch master cylinder, started leaking. So, I mean, the car's under warranty, and they ordered the parts from Australia. It took like a couple of weeks to get here, so that was the thing that went out. And the other issue is the AC. The AC, there's a TSB on it. It stinks. Like if you the first time you get into the car, you turn the AC on, for the first few seconds, you get punched in the face by this smell of wet socks that were left on the roof under the sun for a couple of weeks, and it just knocks you. It's terrible. I took it to the dealership, and I'm lucky I have a great dealership in, you know, Greco Chevrolet of Delray, and they cleaned it. They did this. They ran the TSB. They painted the condenser and all other stuff. I mean, it helps a little bit, but it's still there. So, you know, another thing you're gonna have to live with. So, and the other thing that went out with the seats, you know, going back to the seats, there was not TSB on them. There was a clunking noise that the seats made. You know, if you moved right and left, the seat, you know, moved right and left and clunked. So they installed some spacers. You know, factory had some spacers, so it helped. About 90% is gone. Still kind of, you know, still a little bit there, but again, not a big deal. So these are like pretty much these are like minor little annoyances that I have with this car. But other than that, you know, it's a phenomenal sports sedan. If you have the means, and if you have the opportunity to buy one, do it, because this is, like I said, this is the last of the last. You know, there's not going to be a car like this again. It's just not going to happen. There's no manufacturer that was going to bring a manual transmission in sedan, because most people don't buy it. Even you look at the new C8 Corvette. You know, it's automatic only for now. Maybe it'll be a manual, but it's just, you know, it's just not going to happen. And if you want to know how close this driving experience is to a E39 M5, you know, it's surprising. They're very, very similar. If you've driven a, you know, E39 M5 before, it's a very similar experience to this car. Again, very raw, very unfiltered. So, but that's you know, that's my 1.5 year ownership update. Again, I absolutely love this car, and if you have the chance to drive it, do so. I mean, there's some people in Turo that rent them out, so, you know, do it. Folks, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the Mustang video that's coming up.